my live on Friday because I was actually over at a friend's house at the time. So I'm sorry about that. And I hope everyone's having an amazing day or not. And if you hear any background noises, then please ignore them. And today I'm reading the Bible, page 44 and 45, since I didn't, well, not 44, page 84 and 85. And I forgot what I was going to say. I'm sorry. Anyways, let's get started. 1 second. There you go. Food from them with money that you may eat, and you shall also buy water from them with money that you may drink. For the Lord your God has blessed you in all the work of your hand. He knows you're trudging through this great wilderness. These 40 years the Lord your God has been with you. You have lacked nothing. And when we passed beyond our brethren, the descendants of Esau, who dwelt in Seir, away from the road of the plain, away from Elath and Ezon, Geber, we turned and passed by the wilderness of Moab. Then the Lord spoke to me by the way of the wilderness of Moab. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I read that wrong. Do not harass Moab, nor contend with them in battle, for I will not give you any of their land as a possession, because I have given Ar to the descendants of Lot as a possession. The Emim had dwelt there in times past, a people as great, as numerous, and tall as Anakim. They were also regarded as giants like the Anakim, actually, that's how you pronounce it, I think. But the Moabites called them Emim. The Horites formerly dwelt in Seir, but the descendants of Esau disposed them and destroyed them from before them, and dwelt in their place, just as Israel did to the land of their possession, which the Lord gave them. Now rise and cross over the valley of Zered. So we crossed over the valley of Zered, and the time we took to come from Kadesh Barnea until we crossed over the valley of the Zered was 38 years, until all the generation of the men of war was consumed from the midst of the camp, just as the Lord has sworn to them. For indeed the hand of the Lord was against them to destroy them from the midst of the camp until they were consumed. So it was, when all the men of war had finally perished from among the people, the Lord spoke to me, saying, This day you are to cross over at Ar, the boundary of Moab. And when you come near the people of Ammon, do not harass them or meddle with them, for I will not give you any of the land of the people of Ammon as a possession, because I have given it to the descendants of Lot as a possession. Also regarded as a land of giants for merely, oh wait, I'm sorry. Giants formerly dwelt there, but the Amorites called them Zamzummim, actually. I'm sorry. Oh, welcome to the live. a people as great and numerous and tall as the Anakim, but the Lord destroyed them before them, and they disposed them and dwelt in their place, just as he had done for the descendants of Esau, who dwelt in Seir. When he destroyed the Horites from before them, they disposed them and dwelt in their place, even to this day, and the Avim who dwelt in the villages as far as Gaza, the Caphtorim. I'm glad you watched my lives. Who came, rise, take your journey, and cross over the river Arnon. Look, I have given into your hand of Sihon, the Amorite king of Heshbon, and his land begin to possess it, and engage him in battle. This day I will begin to put the dread and fear of you upon the nations under the whole heaven, who shall hear the report of you, and shall tremble and be in anguish because of you. And I sent messengers from the wilderness of Kedemoth, Kedemoth actually, to Sihon, king of Heshbon, with these with words of peace, saying, "Let me pass through your land. I will keep strictly the road, and I will turn neither to right nor left. You shall sell me food for money that I may eat, and give me water for money that I may drink. Only let me pass through on foot, just as the descendants of Esau who dwelt in Seir and the Moabites who dwelt in Ard did for me, until I cross the Jordan to the land which the Lord our God is giving us." But Sihon the king of Heshbon would not let us pass through, for the Lord your God hardened his spirit and made his heart obstinate. I think that's how you pronounce it. That he may deliver him into your hand as it is this day. And the Lord said to me, "See, I have begun to give Sihon Sihon and his land over to you. Begin to possess it, that you may inherit his land." Then Sihon and all his people came out against the fight at Jahaz, and the Lord our God delivered him over to us. So we defeated him, his sons, and all his people. We took all his cities at that time, and we utterly destroyed the men, women, and little ones of every city. We left nothing remaining. We took only the livestock as plunder for ourselves, with the spoil of the cities which we took from Aurora, which is on the bank of the river Arnon, from the city that is in the Raven as far as Gilead. There was not one city too strong for us, for the Lord our God delivered all to us. Only you did not go near the land of the people of Ammon, anywhere along the river of Jabbok, or to the cities of the mountains, or wherever the Lord our God has forbidden us. We turned and went up the road of Bashan, and Og king of Bashan came out against us. Oh wait, and Og king of Bashan came out against us, and wait, no, he and all his people to battle at Edrei. And the Lord said to me, "Do not fear him, for I have delivered him and all his people and his land into your hand. You shall do to him as you did to Sihon king of the Amorites, who dwelt at Heshbon. So the Lord our God also delivered into our hands Og, king of Bashan, with all his people, and we attacked him until he had no survivors remaining. And we took all his cities. At the time there was not a city which we did not take from them 60 cities, all the region of Argob, the kingdom of Og and Bashan. All these cities were fortified with high walls, gates, and bars, besides a great many rural towns. And we utterly destroyed them, as we did to Sihon, king of Heshbon, utterly destroying the men, women, and children of every city. But all the livestock and the spoil of the cities we took as booty for ourselves. At that time, we took the land from the hand. I'm going to reread that line real quick. And at that time we took the land from the hand of the two kings of the Amorites who were on this side of the Jordan, from the river Arnon to Mount Hermon. The Sidonians call Hamaron Siron, and the Amorites call it Sinir. All the cities of the plain, all Galilee, and all Bashan, as far as Salca and Edrei, cities of the kingdom of Og and of Og and Bashan. For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of the giants. Indeed, his bedstead was an iron bedstead. It is not in Rabbah of the people of Ammon. 9 cubits is its length, and 4 cubits its width, according to the standard cubit. And the land which we possessed at that time from Aurora, which is by the great river Arnon, and half the mountains of Galilee, and its cities I gave to the Reubenites and the Gadites. The rest of Gilead and Bashan, the kingdom of Og, I gave to half the tribe of Manasseh. All the regions of Argob with all Bashan was called to the land of the giants. Jair the son of Manasseh took all the region of Argob as far as the border of the Geshurites, I'm sorry, and the Achathites, and called Bashan after his own name, Havoth Jair, to this day. I gave Gilead to Machor. Actually, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry, I lost where I was for a second. And to the Reubenites and the Gadites I gave from Gilead, as far as the river Arnon to. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I was about to read that wrong. The middle of the river as the border, as far as the river Jabbok, the border of the people of Ammon, the plain also with the Jordan as far as the border from Chinnereth, as far as the east side of the sea of the Araba, the Salt Sea, below the slopes of Pisgah, Then I commanded you at the time, saying, the Lord your God has given you this land to possess. All you men of valor, I think that's actually how you pronounce it, shall cross over armed before your brethren, the children of Israel, but your wives, your little ones, and your livestock, I know that you have much livestock, shall stay in your cities, which I have given you, until the Lord has given rest to your brethren as to you. And they also possess the land which the Lord your God is giving them beyond the Jordan. Then each of you may return to his possession, which I have given you, and I commanded Joshua at the same time, saying, your eyes have seen all that the Lord your God has done to these two kings. So will the Lord do to all the kingdoms through which you pass. You must not fear them, for the Lord your God himself fights for you. Then I pleaded with the Lord at the time, saying, O Lord God, you have begun to show your servant your greatness and your mighty hand. For what God is there in heaven or on earth, who can do anything like your works and your mighty deeds? I pray, let me cross over and see the good land beyond the Jordan, those pleasant mountains and Lebanon. But the Lord was angry with me on your account and would not listen to me. So the Lord said to me, enough of that. Speak no more to me of this matter. Go to the top of Pisgah and lift your eyes towards the west, the north, the south, and the east. Behold it with your eyes, for you shall not cross over this Jordan. But command Joshua and encourage him and strengthen him, for he shall go over before his people, and he shall cause them to inherit the land which you will see. So we stayed in the valley opposite of Beth Peor. Now, O Israel, listen to the statutes and judgments which I teach you to absorb, that you may live and go in and possess the land which the Lord your God of your fathers is giving you. You shall not add to the word which I command you, nor take from it, that you may keep the commandments of the Lord your God which I command you. Your eyes have seen what the Lord did to Baal Peor, for the Lord your God has destroyed from among you all the men who followed Baal of Peor. But you who held fast to the Lord your God are alive today, every one of you. Surely I have taught you statutes and judgments, just as the Lord my God commanded me, that you shall act according to them in the land which you go to possess. Therefore be careful and absorb them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the peoples, who will hear all the statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what great nation is there that has God so near to it as the Lord our God is to us? For whatever reason we may call upon him. And what great nation is there that has such statutes and righteous judgments as are in all this law, which I set before you this day? Only take heed to yourself and diligently keep yourself, lest you forget the things your eyes have seen, lest they depart from your heart all the days of your life, and teach them to your children and your grandchildren, especially concerning this day you stood before the Lord your God in Horeb, when the Lord said to me, Gather the people to me, and I will let them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they live on the earth, and that they may teach their children. Then you came near and stood on at the foot of the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire of the mist of heaven, with darkness, cloud, and thick darkness. And the Lord of the words, and the Lord spoke to you out of the midst of the fire. You heard the sound of the words, but saw no form. You only heard a voice. So he declared to you his convenient which he commanded you to perform. The 10 Commandments, he wrote them on 2 tablets of stone. And the Lord commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and judgments, that you might absorb them in the land which you cross over to possess. Take careful heed to yourselves, for you saw no form when the Lord spoke to you at Horeb, out of the midst of the fire, lest you act corruptly or make yourselves a carved image in the form of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any animal that is on the earth, or the likeness of any winged bird that flies in the air, the likeness of anything that creeps out of the ground, or the likeness of any fish that is in the water beneath the earth. And take heed lest you lift your eyes to heaven, and when you see the sun, the moon, and the stars, all the host of heaven, you feel driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord your God has given to all the people under the whole heaven as a heritage. But the Lord has taken you and brought you out of the iron furnace, out of Egypt, to be his people, an inheritance as you are this day. Furthermore, the Lord was angry with me for your sakes, and swore that I would not cross over the Jordan, and that I would not enter the good land which the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance. But I must die in this land. I must not cross over the Jordan, but you shall cross over it and possess that good land. Take heed to yourselves, lest you forget the covenant of the Lord your God, which he made with you, and make for yourselves a carved image in the form of anything which the Lord your God has forbidden you. For the Lord your God is a consuming fire, a jealous God. When you beget children and grandchildren, and have grown old in the land, and act corruptly, and make a carved image in the form of anything, and do evil in the sight of the Lord your God, to provoke him to anger, I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that you will soon utterly perish from the land which you crossed over the Jordan to possess. You will not prolong your days in it, but will be utterly destroyed, and the Lord will scatter you among the peoples, and you will be left few in number among the nations where the Lord will drive you. And there you will serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, with neither see nor hear nor eat nor smell. But from there You will seek the Lord your God, and you will find him if you seek him with all your heart and with all your soul when you are in distress. And all these things come upon you in the latter days, my bad, I'm sorry. When you turn to the Lord your God and obey his voice, for the Lord your God is a merciful God. He will not forsake you nor destroy you, nor forget the covenant of your fathers which he swore to them. For ask now concerning the days that are past, which were before you, since the day that God created man on the earth, and ask for one end of the heaven, and ask from one end of heaven to the other, whether any great thing like this happened, or anything like it has been heard. Did any people ever hear the voice of God speaking out of the midst of fire, as you have heard any love? Or did God ever try to go to and take for himself a nation from the midst of another nation? By trials, by signs, by wonders, by war, by a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, and by great terrors, according to all that the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your eyes. To you it was shown that you might know that the Lord himself is God. There is none other besides him. Out of heaven he let you hear his voice, that he might instruct you. On earth he showed you his great fire, and you heard his words come out of the midst of the fire. And because he loved your fathers, therefore he chose their descendants after them. And he brought you out of Egypt with his presence, with his mighty power, driving out from before you nations greater and mightier than you, to bring you in, to give you their land as an inheritance, as it is this day. Therefore, know this day and consider it in your heart that the Lord himself is God, and in heaven above, on the earth beneath, there is no other. You shall therefore keep his statutes and his commandments, which I command you today, that it may go well with you and with your children after you, and that you may prolong your days in the land which the Lord your God is giving you for all time. Then Moses set apart 3 cities on this side of the Jordan, towards the rising of the sun, that the manslayer might flee there, who kills his neighbor unintentionally without having hated him in time past, and that by fleeing to one of these cities he might live. Bezer in the wilderness on the plateau for the Reubenites, Ramoth and Gilead for the Gadites, and Golan, yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it, and Bashan for the Manassites. Now this is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. These are the testimonies, the statutes, and the judgments which Moses spoke to the children of Israel after they came out of Egypt. On this side of the Jordan, in the valley opposite of Beth Peor, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry if I pronounce anything wrong. In the land of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, whom Moses and the children of Israel defeated after they came out of Egypt, and they took possession of his land and the land of Og, king of Bashan, 2 kings of the Amorites who were on this side of the Jordan toward the rising of the sun, from Auror, which is on the bank of the river Arnon, even to Mount Sion, that is Hermon, yeah. And all the plain on the east side of the Jordan, as far as the sea of the Arba, below the slopes of Pisgah. And Moses called all Israel and said to them, Hear, O Israel, the statutes of and judgments which I speak in your hearing today, that you may learn them and be careful to absorb them. The Lord our God made it convenient with us in Horeb. The Lord did not make this convenient with our fathers, but with us, those who are here today, all of us. And that is all for today. And I'm sorry if I pronounced anything wrong or anything like that. And I'm sorry for not doing my live on Friday because I was at a friend's house at that time. And I hope everyone's having an amazing day or night. And goodbye.